Minimum wage hasn't been raised in over a decade, and yet the cost has risen extraordinarily for just about everything else in life. So much so that my own father, who was able to support a 5-person family on a 1-person income at the age of 25, roughly 25 years ago, can no longer be replicated in today's format. At least not by working retail, fast food, or even some of these other higher up positions, without more than one income being brought in, living comfortably, that is, which is the majority of jobs that the majority of the population have. America seems to be dividing the classes between the rich and the poor more than ever, causing the collapse of the middle class. Well, if you personally feel like you relate to anything discussed in today's video, or just simply like topics discussing this types of conversation, feel free to like, comment your thoughts, opinions below, and subscribe to see my daily uploads around here discussing topics just like this. And I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon supporters, my channel memberships, everybody who just rocks the content. You can check out the links to all that stuff down below in the description. Those are some of the best ways to support me and the content around here. I really want to go a long way to really shout out some of you guys who have been supporting some of those links. Really does go a long way. So now let's begin this shit show today, shall we?
This is a month's pay on the federal minimum wage.
Yikes.
Full-time. Pre-tax. If you didn't know, now you do.
Hey, good.
That's because they haven't really raised the minimum wage in quite a while, actually. And it's kind of crazy to think that only a couple decades back they were raising it quite a lot, very very frequently, and now they kind of gave up on that hope. It's almost like they want people to be poor. Interesting, isn't it?
Morning. While we're all out here busting our ass, I just wanted to remind everybody that minimum wage today would need to be $66 an hour to match the minimum wage buying power that boomers had in the 70s.
In the 70s, that's what I was talking about, only a few decades back. And that's what I was saying in the intro of this video, that when my dad was, kind of getting a start in the world the way I am now, it was a much different climate in terms of the financial status you could build from kind of what now would be considered lackluster jobs. And any source of employment today is kind of to brag about, or at least that's what people talk about, because most of Gen Z has these like unemployment memes. And I myself also have found hard times to find certain ways of employment and steady sources of income, because a lot of old people, boomers, Gen Xers, they always say, why don't Gen Z millennials stick at a job out for 30-40 years anymore? Because there's really no trust and loyalty in many companies anymore, and they really are more willing to just crank people out to get new hires and pay people for less than they really want to. Because when somebody works for your company for longer, they're going to eventually ask for a raise if they have any sense, especially if they know what value they're bringing to the table. And they don't want that. They would rather you not stick up for yourself and just work like robots.
But them fucking bootstraps, pull that shit up.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but working overtime and long hours at your 9 to 5 is not a flex. It's a cry for help. You get so happy that you get approved for overtime. So you work that overtime, you make your little $200 to $300, yet you're still struggling to pay the bills. You're missing time with your family. You're missing time to put your kids to bed, and yet you want to call that a flex? What? And I was in the same boat too, working.
All right, so I was at Burger King the other day. I have a small little story, so let's grab some popcorn, sit down, and listen to Uncle Joshy tell you some shit. So I was at Burger King with my buddy Reese. You might have saw him on the live stream. Feel free to check out some of my live streams I do every single day in the evenings around here on this channel. The Chatting with Josh live streams. Anyway, we were at Burger King, and I was overhearing some of the employees in the background brag to each other. It was almost like they were trying to one-up each other on who works more hours. Like the older guy, he was saying, I've worked a 12-hour shift before. You haven't even worked a 12-hour shift, have you? Talking to the new girl, and she goes, no, I've done a 10 before, but I've only worked here for about 3-4 months. And it's like, he was really bragging about it. He goes, yeah, but that's nothing. I mean, I would do more if they would allow me, but there's only so many breaks. Yeah, and it's like, I'm going to sound like a total hater. And I was even telling my buddy Reese, and he kind of agreed. We kind of think he kind of thought I was kind of overstretching it, but I was like, it's like you're just bragging about how much you're selling your time and your soul away, and you're like, oh, I've gave everything to this boss. It doesn't really. Most bosses don't really value many employees. Hopefully, I don't know their setup, and I'm kind of projecting. But many companies I've been at, the harder I work, the more I get abused for my time, and then you're the one they're always asking for overtime, and then you end up getting this cycle of just. And then when you do end up asking for a raise, it's nowhere near what you actually feel like you probably should be earning.
Long hours, skipping the dinners, missing putting my kids to bed, and getting that side-eye look from my wife because I wasn't there. Man, I could never flex that. So that's why I got into the online space and found a program that provided me with a simple step-by-step process that showed me how to leverage automations so that I could be out doing the things that I love to do. Just imagine if you learn the skills on how to leverage automations, share your story, and then you could be out playing with your kids. They're throwing water balloons at one another, and all of a sudden a $900 thing comes in your phone. That, my friend, is a true flex. So if you would like to stop relying on overtime and long hours just to pay the bills in the
Always,
house, and you want to learn a
don't tell
simple
me yourself, of
step-by-step
course.
process to create an income online, something that's going to allow you a true flex in life, then just type blueprint in the comments. I'll be happy to share this with you.
Oh, yeah, these themselves, of course. They always do, folks. I don't always watch every single end of the video. I usually just watch the first half to kind of get the gist and see if it's relevant to today's topic of the said discussion. But it's funny. Almost every one of these financial videos, or at least these videos that talk about money, they always end up trying to get you to sell a course at the end. I will never sell a course unless you guys. I mean, I do always have the donation links, but my content's always free. This is what it is. There's a Patreon for like the behind the scenes content and stuff, and to get more to know me about my life and chit chat me like whenever you want. But it's literally like $1 a month. That's like the cheapest you can possibly do anything. It doesn't even let me set it. It doesn't let me set it any lower. There is a free option, but this content is a type of work, But either way, it is crazy to think how the money's not stretching anymore. And just like he's saying, you can never get your time back. I mean, money goes a long way, but you really got to think about what you're trading it for. These days, some people trade a lot more than their mind, or sorry, some people these days trade a lot more than time for their money. They trade their reputation. They trade things they can never get back. I mean, look at some of these girls out here. I mean, I don't think they really know how the dating pool is going to be once they get a little older. And some of the guys who are sub to their OFs are just going to sub the new girls. And hopefully they can be smart with their investments and their money. But I feel like a lot of girls, it's actually I look at these OF girls like rappers. There's so many. We've all known people from high school that wanted to be rappers, and they just released some songs and never really made it. Maybe they did a few shows and made a few little bucks, but they ended up working at Target, or they end up working at Walmart, or like a fast food place. That's what a lot of these OF models might end up being, and now it's even worse because now it's kind of affected their reputation. So, I mean, teach their own. I mean, everybody thinks differently, but there definitely is a stereotype involved here.
Just got my paycheck today, y'all. That's not enough motherfucking money to deal with them motherfucking customers, man. And I be finna punch them in their shit. This not enough money. Throw the whole motherfucking job away.
The next page in 2031. All right, I just wanted to add that in there because that's how I used to feel once I used to get my paychecks. I used to pay all my bills, pay back some of those little payday loans, the Dave app, the Earnin app, all those bullshits that you see advertisement, maybe even on these videos since I talk about money sometimes, or most videos talk about money, I guess. And I mean, there's so many different ways to make money online, but don't fall for some of the scams because there's way more scams than there is actual tips and tricks to get rich quick schemes.
One making less than 15,000 sees that. Check this out. I thought this was a mistake. I thought I was not reading this correctly. An increase in their taxes of 74.3%, and from 15,000 to 30,000 of 20.6%. Is that correct? Or is that, did you guys make a mistake, or is that like...
No mistake in the numbers.
The people at the lower income brackets are getting screwed.
My birthday's tomorrow.
Lower income brackets are getting screwed. And that's the majority of us, folks. Like I was saying, and I've actually mentioned in the beginning of this video, the majority of people who have jobs work some of these bottom barrel jobs, these lackluster high school jobs, whatever. A lot of people end up working those jobs for a long time, or they end up kind of jumping the ladder into those types of things. And yeah, the average income might be like $50,000 to $60,000 a year, but I mean, in many cities in this country, you need like $100,000 to really live comfortably if you want to build a secure family and have investments and be able to retire one day. I mean, again, I'm not even sure if I'll be able to write off Social Security the way many people in my family who are getting to the older ages and are kind of elderly now are able to. Crazy to think.
And instead of asking for a birthday gift, I just asked my mom if she wouldn't charge me for rent this month. So, happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to her. All she wanted was not have to be able to pay rent. I wonder if we can do that with our landlords. We should try that. Hey honey, or if it's a dude, hey handsome, it's my birthday this month. I think I could get a little sugar and just not pay. Either way, that's not gonna work. I wouldn't try it, and you might get kicked out doing that. But either way, would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions regarding anything else we discussed in today's video: the job market, the lackluster economy, and just the downfall of the civilization around us. Either way, feel free to leave all your guys' thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. Again, a huge shout out to everybody who supports the channel around here, the Patreon supporters, the channel memberships, everybody who rocks the content. And feel free to come and stop by at some of our late night live streams. I do them every day in the evenings, and right here on this channel, Chatting with Josh live. You can discuss things with me, ask me questions, and we can just hang out. So thank you guys so much for watching. I plan to be more steady again with the videos. I kind of took this weekend off, but sometimes you gotta have a break. I mean, that's kind of what you work so hard for, is to be able to take a day or two off. So sometimes I feel like I deserve it. But it's kind of hard for me because I'm kind of like a workaholic, so I always feel like I ought to be doing something. So the days I take off, I still try to plan or whatever, prepare for the next or whatever. So anyway, I do have a couple plans in works maybe, so we'll see what happens next. So feel free to stay tuned, and I will talk to you soon.